theme parks just keep closing. A bunch of theme parks are closing. It's crazy, right? Especially Six Flags parks, because we just got announced another one is closing. And is that fun, losing 2 Six Flags parks? First we lose Six Flags America, which I made a 41-minute video on or something crazy like that, so make sure to go check that out. But, however, there was another Six Flags park that just announced it was closing. And you know what? We already knew this for a long time, and they officially announced that California's Great America is closing. It's expected to close by the end of the 2027 season. Because they're having like land sale problems or something like that. I don't know. They're like having problems with the land, so yeah, it's basically gonna be closing because of land sale problems and other shit like that. So I guess today I will just be talking about this park. I never been to it and I will never go to it. No, yes, I'm not gonna go to this park. I mean, I know I have like 2 years to go there, but I'm not going to because I want to go to other theme parks. Because this one just never interested me. I would have owned the Cedar Fair parks. This is probably the one I looked least into. So I'm like, California's Great America. Cool, anyways, I'm gonna look into Cedar Point. So, like Cedar Fair's got so many good parks. Well, I haven't been to any of them because I just started my theme park quest 3 years ago. I went, well, not really. I went to Disney World when I was a little baby, like 8 times. Universal, I went about 7 to 8 times. Maybe around the same time as Disney. So, and then I went back to Disney in 2022, and it was quite something to say the least. But, as for somebody who just started their theme park quest, I only been to around like maybe 5 theme parks. I've been to Universal, Disney, Six Flags Great Escape, Six Flags New England, Six Flags Great Adventure, and Busch Gardens. And I'm going to be going to a brand new theme park next year. And no, it's not Great Adventure. It's going to be a brand new theme park. And I'll be talking about it in a video coming soon. But spoilers, I'm going to Hershey Park next year. And then I will probably be going to Cedar Point sometime between 2027 and 2028. So that will be a lot of fun. And maybe I'll go to Universal too. I don't know. But I definitely know that Hershey Park and Cedar Point are my next 2 parks. Maybe squeeze Universal in there. But yeah, I would much rather be going to these theme parks than California's Great America. It just never interested me. And I mean, it's all the way in California. And this park just doesn't look that interesting. But, you know what? I'll walk into it a little. Alright, let me just... I'm using my phone to record this video and my iPad is, downstairs, so, oh, I have a good idea. Maybe I will look into the coasters a bit, and, I will be talking about, I'll just do the same thing as the last video. That's a great idea. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about which coasters are going to be relocated and which ones will most likely close down with the park in 2027 at the end of the season. And just kind of like how I did with America, Six Flags America. It was fun to do it last time in that video. So I will do it this time as well, just because, well, this is closing and... if any more Six Flags parks get announced that parks are closing, well, I will be doing that because it's just fun, It's just fun to be talking about, like, what coasters are closing. Now, keep in mind, I do not know that much about this theme park. Now, before I started this video, I looked into its coaster lineup. I looked into the day of owned coasters. I looked into, like, the names. Well, obviously. I looked into what's manufactured by, how old it is. So, I did some research, and yeah, I don't think most of them are not getting relocated. I think most of them will close down with the park. This park is like 50 years old, and most of these coasters are like 40 years old. And like, there's very few new ones. Like, most of them are from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and we have like 2 of them from like the 2010s. One of them I don't even know when it opened. So, yeah. So so I don't think most of them are going to be being relocated. I think most of them will be closing because this park is really old. Like, really old. It's like as old as like Six Flags Great Adventure. So, and I don't think Great Adventure is closing because they took better care of that park compared to California's Great America. Like, this coaster lineup looks kind of lame. Like, I'm not going all the way to California just to ride these coasters. I'm going to be going to Magic Mountain instead if I'm going to California. Or maybe I'll go to Universal or something. I don't know. But we got the one in Orlando, so I'll probably just go to that one instead. But, if I'm going to any theme park in California, it's going to be Six Flags Magic Mountain and not California's Great America. I mean, the park looks nice and all. It looks like a nice little park just to kind of go while, visit while you're going traveling to other theme parks. But, I don't really road trip theme parks. I know a lot of people like to just go to theme parks one by one, but for me, I like to go to theme parks at best time when all the rides are open to get the flash passes and basically go there. I like to have my best experience. So, because, I'm not going to be, because I don't want to go to, Great Adventure and El Toro's closed down, especially since King the Car's gone, so, yeah. And, if you guys are wondering, one last thing. If you guys are wondering why Six Flags is closing a couple of their parks, it's because they are wanting to save costs, so that way they can, improve their parks, close down, the old crappy ones they had. That's why they closed down all the Great Adventure rides, well, like 8 of them. And they're going to be replacing with a bunch of new, modern technology good rides, which, it is a risky move, but however, I think it's a good idea, because for many of years, Six Flags Great Adventure was opening a bunch of, not so great rides every year, and, I think they're gonna start taking the approach of quality over quantity, but I could be wrong. But you know what? I think it's a good decision to, be replacing some of the old stuff with the newer, gooder stuff. Is gooder even a word? I don't know. But, and yes, it's a part of saving costs. They have to save costs, so they're gonna close down some of the parks that aren't making them money. Like, Six Flags America, they didn't put any work into that park for years. They did last year, retheming the Mini Racer to Professor Scream. Oh yeah, I didn't even know that in the America video. Sorry! But, yeah, so they gave America a new theme. They opened a new flat ride, and then now they're closing it. Because, no one's going to that park. Like, who would want to go to America over Great America? Am I right? And for California's Great America, they're just having land problems. So, they're closing down some of their parks. Parks that really aren't making them any money. So, they could close a few other parks. Like, maybe they'll close down Dorney Park. Maybe they'll close down Valley Fair. They might close down, what else? Like, they might close down, like, Darien Lake. Six Flags Darien Lake. Who knows? Like, they might close a couple of their smaller parks. Like, the parks that aren't really making them any money. But I don't know. We just have to wait and see what happens. So, yeah, without further ado, I'm going to look into the coasters at California's Great America and see which ones are going to be most likely be relocated and which ones are going to be shutting down, going right into the garbage bin and junkyard and garbage in general. And I also watch videos on how people think of these coasters, so I don't go in blind, because I never been on any of them, because I never been to this park, because, I never really looked into it that much. So, without further ado, I'm going to look into these coasters, and I'm going to be getting the footage from theme park reviews and theme park POVs, so credits to them, and without further ado, let's get started. And then at the end of the video, I don't even know what I'm going to do. First of all, I will say the park does have a pretty nice entrance with the fountain and the merry-go-round, I guess. So, and I like the sign, so that's a pretty cool entrance. We begin off the coaster collection with Flight Deck, an inverted coaster. It's under the track. It's got, inversions. It's kind of like, it's like one of those Batman the Ride cones, kind of. This coaster opened back in 1993. Yeah, 1993, that's very old. I heard this coaster was decent. Like, I heard it was a fine coaster. I heard it was pretty short. Like, it's like a solid coaster. It's just, you know, kind of like one of those old inverted coasters. They're like, you know, fun coasters. But do I think this coaster will get relocated? I'm gonna say no. Oh yeah, and for every score, I'm gonna be going from 1 through 5. 1 will be the coasters I think will go right in the trash, and 5 being coasters I definitely think will be relocated. So overall, I think this coaster gets a 2. I could maybe see it being relocated if it gets lucky, but I don't think it's happening. Next, we have the park's newest coaster, Railblazer. Now, this one's interesting. This one's a single rail, aka an RMC Raptor. And what's funny is that I could completely be wrong, but I never heard of an RMC Raptor being relocated. So this one's interesting because I don't think any of them have closed yet. So do I think this coaster will be relocated? Well, let's see. This coaster opened back in 2018. This one is only like 6 years old. It will be around 9 by the time the park closes. So that's interesting. But I think this coaster actually will get relocated because one, this coaster can become a new standout at a smaller park like Six Flags Great Escape, Frontier City, or even Michigan's Adventure. So, or maybe even Valley Fair. But I don't even know if that park has an RMC Raptor. Oh, it doesn't. Never mind. But yeah, I think this would be perfect for another smaller park. It would give them a brand new standout. And it would entice people to come to the park more. So I think this would be a perfect relocated coaster for a smaller park. So I'm going to give this a 4, just because an RMC Raptor hasn't closed yet. At least what I heard of. I would have given it a 5 if we actually seen an RMC Raptor being relocated. But since we haven't yet, at least I haven't, I'm going to only give this a 4. Next we have Patriot. Yeah, I had to look that one up because I did not know how to pronounce that, but it's called Patriot. So this was, fun fact, a stand-up coaster originally, kind of like Green Lantern at Great Adventure and the Redwood's Revenge at Magic Mountain, but it was turned into a 4-wheel coaster like Firebird at America. Another park closing. Interesting. This is a very short 4-wheel coaster. I believe it opened in the 1990s or 1980s. But it's definitely not a new coaster. It's pretty old. It's like, you know, I think opened in like the early 90s or something. And yeah, I don't think this one's being relocated. I mean, I could maybe see it if it got lucky. It's another one. I could maybe see it maybe being relocated. But I don't think that's happening. But I will still give it a 2, not a 1. Since if it gets lucky, it could be relocated to a smaller park. But I'm giving this a 2. Next we have Demon, and just look how cool this opening is. Wow, this coaster actually looks pretty cool. I heard it's also a pretty solid coaster. But however, I'm giving this a 1 already, because it's an aerodynamics roller coaster. And Aero is a dying model. Like, there's a bunch of aero coasters that are dying. So, already I'm giving this a 1. And yeah, it's a very old coaster, opened in like 1987. So it's old, and it's a dying manufacturer. So I'm giving this a 1. But this is a coaster I definitely want to ride. Just unfortunately, I don't really want to visit this park. This park doesn't really look that worth it. It's not even on my theme park list, and I got like 50 of them on there. Next up, we have Gold Trigger, a GCI wooden coaster. Now, this is another very interesting one. This one is pretty new as well. Opened in 2016. And since this park is closing in 2027, by the time this coaster will be around 11 years old. So, I honestly am not really sure if this one will be relocated. But honestly, I will give it a 3. Just because I'm not really sure if it will. But you know what? I could definitely see it being relocated to another park as like a new standout coaster. I mean, this coaster definitely looks like a lot of fun. I heard that it's also it's a really good wooden roller coaster. I heard it's the second best in the park outside Railblazer. So I will give it a 3, just because I'm not sure if it will close at the park or be relocated. So I'm putting it kind of in the middle. Next we have the Grizzly, which I heard is a very, very bad coaster. Like, one of the worst in the world. I heard this coaster is very, very rough. And if it's not rough, it's boring as shit. With absolutely no force at all. And this coaster's old. It's like, it opened in like, what? Like, I think it opened in like 1976 or something like that. Like, it opened between the 1970s and 1980s. I think this one opened like 1983, 1976, somewhere like that. But regardless, it's old. Really old. It opened like it's like one of the first coasters that came to the park. So, it's very old and it's a bad coaster. So, I'm giving this a 1. It's definitely not being relocated. And if they were gonna relocate any of the wooden coasters here, it would be Gold Striker. It's newer, better, and will be a good standout. This would just be, garbage. Next, we have Psycho Mouse. This mouse is definitely getting psycho with this one. I don't know why it's called that, though. I heard it's one of the tamer wild mouses. But, oh well. Coaster names are weird. And they will always be weird. So, I think this coaster could be relocated. I'm going to give this a 4. Because it's a wild mouse. It's easy to afford. And it's not... Wild mouses aren't that expensive. They have been relocated a lot. And on top of that, I could give a park a good new family coaster. So I'm giving it a 4. Oh yeah, and for the Rail Blazer section, I also forgot to mention that RMC Raptors are pretty cheap. So that gives it another reason why Rail Blazer will probably be relocated. But like I said, an RMC Raptor has never been relocated. So I'm still going to give it a 4. I'll give this one a 4 as well. Because I could see it maybe not being relocated because, well, it's a wild mouse and this one's kind of old. I mean, I don't really know how old it is. I forgot to look it up for this video, but I'll just show it on screen right here. Next, we have Woodstock Express, the second smallest coaster of the park. And I'm giving this like a... I would have said like a 3 or 4 just because it's a, family coaster and they're easy to, port. But then I looked up the age, and this coaster, it's like... I think it opened in like 1978. This coaster is really old, like really old. So I don't know any park that wants to buy a really old coaster. So I'm giving this like a 2. I mean, I could maybe see a park buying a family coaster, but I don't think it's being relocated. 2. Number 1. Well, wait, why am I saying number 1? Lucy's Krabby Cabins. I think that's how we say it. I don't know. As you can tell by this footage, it's a very small kiddie coaster. It's considered a family coaster, but it's definitely a kiddie coaster. And, I don't really know much about this coaster. I don't even know when it opened. I tried to look it up, but I couldn't find when it opened. So, I guess I'll give it a 4. Just because it looks new. It looks like it could be boarded at a park like, Six Flags Over Georgia, since they just closed their Flash ride, my kid Flash ride. So they could use another one, and maybe they'll take this one when California's Great America closes. I don't know. I'll give it a 4, I guess. Anyway, so that's gonna be doing for today's video. So overall, what do I think about California's Great America closing? I mean, the park lineup doesn't look that interesting. It would probably be one of the last theme parks I would go to in America of like all of the major ones. It just doesn't look that interesting. They have a good RMC Raptor, but I heard it's really short. Like I heard after drop it's only like 24 seconds. The other coasters look decent. Some of them look, god awful, and some of them are, and the other 2 are just kiddie rides. So I can't really say that this park looks that worth going to before it closes. I mean, I'm going to Hershey Park and Cedar Point instead, so yeah, I'm not going to this park. And and if you're ever interested in going to California's Great America, well, I would recommend going there before the park closes. If you're ever interested in it, if you've never been there, but you've been to like parks like Cedar Point and Hershey Park, like all the other good parks. If you just want to go to the park because you've been to the other good parks millions of times, and you can, go to California's Great America and, get an experience there before it closes. So I'm sorry to all the people that lives close to that park, grew up with it in their childhood, it's their home park, and for the people who have jobs there, I'm sorry about that, but but, you know, hey, at least you've got other parks in California, but, you know, if you ever screwed up with the park, I'm sorry to hear about that and stuff, so, I think that's all I have to say, I think it makes sense, though, you know, just, you know, they gotta save costs, they're having problems with the land, so I think it makes perfect sense. So anyways, thank you all for watching this video. Sorry it wasn't as long as the other theme park videos I made this year. It's, I would have done the, predicting the parks that are closing, next, but I already did that in my Six Flags America video, so make sure to go check that one out, and you also make sure to check out my Great Adventure video, too. I actually heard that the Flash is actually a really good coaster. I just kind of heard it from coasters. Just like, oh, the coaster's mid. But then I heard other people say it's really good. So, I don't know. I gotta get on it when I come back there sometime in the future. So, anyways, thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you all next time. What was that for? Okay, let's see what's on YouTube, I guess. Oh my god. More!